today we are going to discuss co-packing. That's right, co-packing, contract product packaging, the pros, the cons.
A contract packer, or co-packer, is a company that manufactures and packages foods or similar products for their clients. To market and distribute, a copacker works under contract with the hiring company to manufacture food as though the products were manufactured directly by the hiring company.
Welcome back, everybody. Duane Thompson, your food product entrepreneur's mentor. All right, we're back. Hope you had a very exciting holiday, restful, relaxing, and all that good stuff. There's a whole bunch of things that goes along with co-packing, and we're going to discuss that in today's video. But before I get started, I would like to say thank you very much. I'm looking for, I got an email from Foodie for You, who was asking if I will start doing product reviews. And the answer to your question is yes. I will start doing product reviews. So if you do see this video and you do have a product that you are looking to be reviewed, not just from the standpoint of is it good or does it taste good, but I want to know the whole story. I want to know about your product, about your company, problems that the product solves, all the aspects, ins and outs, because when I do my review, I'm not going to just do it from a standpoint of does it taste good. I'm actually going to do it from a standpoint of how the product looks from a marketing standpoint, a logistics standpoint. I'm going to look at it from all different aspects. Even if it's just a test or a concept product, send it over to me. All right, so let's go. We are talking about co-packing today. I get a lot of feedback from new students or new mentees that I work with regarding co-packing. There's a myth out there that the co-packer is going to steal your recipe. A co-packer's job is not to steal your product. They don't really have a interest in stealing your product if it's an untested product. For example, if your brand is not well known out there in the atmosphere, in the world, they're not going to be interested in knocking off your product. Don't be afraid to at least approach and start interviewing and discussing your product with a co-packer. Now, that said, you're still going to need to take measures and professional steps just by being a professional in the food business when it comes to co-packing, okay? And that is going to be signing a confidentiality agreement, all right? Your confidentiality agreement, all co-packers across the land are very familiar with them. They usually allow you to come in with your own, or you can sign theirs. Either way, it really doesn't matter. They all pretty much say the same. It all boils down to is, hey, listen, we're not going to manufacture your product without your knowledge. There's still some responsibility on your part as a product developer in doing some things to make sure that you're being professional about the way you're going about working with your co-packer. So the first thing you want to do is identify a co-packer who has the capacity or at least has the capability to manufacture your style product. So as an example, let's say you're a baker and you bake cakes. The co-packer that you want to interview or the list of co-packers that you want to identify, of course, has to be able to have baking equipment and be able to manufacture from that standpoint. You don't want to go to a sauce manufacturing co-packer when you have a baking or baked good or confection product, okay? Also, before we get too deep in this, I'll provide a link to a co-packing site with a list of co-packers. I'll also put the link in the comment box below so you can take a look at that as well. If you can't find a co-packer right offhand, sometimes you have to travel. And if you still are unsure on how to find a co-packer, it's a good idea to maybe look around to other companies who are manufacturing something similar to what you're making and ask them who they use. Okay, so the top 4 objections I get from product developers when they're working or before they're working with a co-packer is they might steal my recipe. Number 2, the co-packers are too expensive. You have to be able to look at it from both angles. So let's look at it from the co-packer standpoint first. Now, if you're dealing with a co-packer, you have to understand they have something called minimums. They're going to expect you to run at least a minimum order with them because of what they have to do. You have to know exactly what goes into it. So if you take your product to a co-packer and you want them to run this particular product, they're going to at least say you have to do one complete run with us. In our particular case, for example, is our co-packer has a 120-gallon steam kettle. He's going to at least expect us to run one full kettle, which happens to be 220 cases of our product, for one minimum order. That's just what goes into it from their standpoint in order for them just to be able to turn a profit. Number 3 is they feel that they may not get enough personal attention from the co-packer. And sometimes that may be slightly true, okay? But again, we need to understand that this has to be a win-win situation on both sides, the product developer side and the co-packer side. So for example, a co-packer's business, again, is contract packaging. So of course, they're going to be manufacturing more than one product. And there is a level of professionalism that you need to expect when it comes to dealing with a co-packer. A co-packer should at least give you the time and date that they're going to do your run. You should always be invited to see your product being manufactured. So another way that you can control your costs a little better is be involved in the purchase of your raw materials. So you want to make sure you work with your co-packer when it comes to buying and purchasing your raw materials. Because sometimes, in rare cases, you may be able to get those raw materials at a lower price than the co-packer can, especially if you have a unique product that requires unique ingredients. The fourth objection I get, they feel as though the co-packer will lose some quality, or they won't make the product as good as they make it. They feel like, sometimes if you're mass producing, you might lose some quality there. And that's an objection that we're going to overcome as well. So what I would suggest you do is sample the individual raw materials that is going to be used to manufacture your product before you have your production date. This is very important because you don't want to get to production date and find out that there's an inferior raw material product that you know not to be good or don't taste good, and now here's production day and you're using that. So those are the top 4 objections I usually get from product developers before they work with co-packers. Now, if you have some additional reasons, please let me know in the comment box below. Okay, so now let's talk about some reasons or some pros on why you should use a co-packing company when you are ready. Number 1, it may just not be your strong point working in the kitchen and actually cooking and manufacturing a product. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that come up with great products and can make them great in their kitchen, but when it comes to mass production, they're terrible. There's an organization level that you have to be aware of. There's different reportings. There's HACCP or Hazard Analysis Control critical points that you have to be worried about. You have to worry about FDA, federal, state, local laws. You have to worry about inspections. There's a lot of different things that go into a commercial style packaging, manufacturing of a product. So you need to understand those things, and if you're not willing to go through each and every one of those and address them in detail, I would suggest you use a co-packing company. It takes a lot of that nerve-wracking and a lot of pressure off you because you already know that your product is being made in an approved kitchen. Reason number 2, co-packing your product allows you to focus on sales. Sales. That is what we are in this business for, to make the money, to make the sale. When you are manufacturing a product and you are in your kitchen, you are taking away from that valuable time that allows you to be able to go out and sell your product. So that reason alone right there did it for me. I got out the kitchen very early, especially when I realized and understood that I needed to be out into the marketplace selling my product and doing what I do best. And that was selling the product. The third reason you should be working with a co-packer is you want to be able to scale your business and your product up as necessary, which is very important because the last thing that you want to be worried about is if you are able to meet the demands of a large customer order, if you should get it. All you should be worried about is picking up the phone, calling your co-packer, and making that order because everything is already locked in. They know your ingredients, you know the cost, so all you have to do is be able to scale up and keep it moving. Reason number 4 on why you should be working with a co-packer, which may sound a little counterintuitive from what we talked about earlier in the objective sections, but you definitely have to understand that Copacker can manufacture your product better than you could. So you're adding in a dab of this and a dab of that, which changes your flavor profile over time. And trust me when I tell you, your consumers do notice the difference. Reason number 5, it actually becomes a little less expensive as you work with a Copacker over time. But before we go there, there's one thing I want to make you aware of, and that is you will change Copackers over time. It is just something that always naturally happens. There is different reasons why you and the Copacker grow apart. The Copacker that you start off using may not be able to supply you what you need. There may be some logistics involved where they can't ship or they can't ship to a destination. So there's a whole myriad of reasons of why you're going to change Copackers over time. As you become an expert in manufacturing your product, even though you're physically not doing it, you may be able to better control your costs from a vendor standpoint. For example, you may be able to get items cheaper in a particular part of the season of the year. You may be able to get your labels done cheaper from a specific vendor. There's different things that you're going to be able to do to reduce your costs over time. And then you can pass that on to the Copacker, because the Copacker job really is labor. Don't expect to work with the same Copacker throughout the life of your product and your company. Now, it's great if you have a long-term relationship. I mean, that's great. I know companies and I have friends who actually been working with Copackers for decades, and it has worked out for them. But I would probably say more often than not, you'll be switching Copackers. Okay, so there you have it. Some of my personal reasons that address some of your objections on dealing and working with Copackers. And then some reasons why you should work with Copackers. So I hope this information is beneficial to you, and I hope it helps you in your business. All right, as always, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure that you hit the bell button so that you are alerted every time that I upload a video, which is every Tuesday. So I look forward to reading your comments and hearing about your personal business. I also even look forward to reviewing some of your upcoming products. So please stay tuned to this channel, and I thank you very much. And as always, I look forward to using this platform to minimize your learning curve.